There is a phrase in finance that experienced investors treat like a loaded weapon. 4 words, this time is different. Every bubble, every crash, every crisis. Someone stands up and says this time is different, and they are almost always wrong. The patterns repeat, the cycles return, human nature does not change. I'm going to say those 4 words tonight, and I need you to understand why I believe, for the first time in my career, they might be true. On Friday, 2 numbers collided. Brent crude closed at $92.69, up 36% in a single week, the largest weekly surge since oil futures began trading in 1983, and the U.S. economy lost 92,000 jobs in February. Not slowed, not paused, lost. The unemployment rate jumped to 4.4%, rising energy costs plus a contracting labor market. That is the definition of stagflation. The last time it happened at scale was 1973, the Arab oil embargo. That crisis produced a 16-month recession, years of inflation, and restructured global energy policy for half a century. Every analyst on Earth is now making the 1973 comparison, and the comparison is correct, but it is incomplete. Because in 1973, there was no artificial intelligence quietly replacing the workforce while the oil shock held everyone's attention. That is the variable that makes this time genuinely, structurally, provably different. And tonight I'm going to show you why it changes everything. For the economy, for your career, for your portfolio, and for the world that exists on the other side of this war. Quick recap of the week. Oil surged from $70 to $92. WTI broke 90 for the first time since 2023. Brent briefly touched 94. The Dow had its worst week since October. South Korea's Kospi crashed 12% in a single session. Worst day in the index's history. The 10-year Treasury yield surged from 396 to 414, biggest weekly jump since April. Trump demanded unconditional surrender from Iran. Iran's foreign minister went on Meet the Press this morning and rejected a ceasefire. He confirmed Russia is providing intelligence to Iran on the location of American warships. Qatar's energy minister predicted all Gulf exporters will be forced to shut down production. The U.S. Treasury issued an emergency waiver allowing India to buy Russian oil, a massive policy reversal that tells you how serious the supply crisis is. And on Friday morning, the jobs report landed, negative 92,000, the market fell. Oil spiked, and a word that nobody wanted to say became impossible to avoid. Before I go deeper into the economics, behind every job number is a person who went to work on Thursday and did not have a job on Friday. Behind every oil price is a family in South Asia watching their electricity costs rise with no strategic reserve to cushion the blow. Behind every drone interception statistic is a child in Abu Dhabi who heard an explosion and does not understand why. I analyze structures because I believe understanding what is breaking helps protect people from what comes next. But the structures are made of people, I will not lose sight of that. Let me start with what everyone is saying, because they are not wrong, they are just not complete. In October 1973, OPEC declared an oil embargo against countries supporting Israel in the Yom Kippur War. Oil prices quadrupled. Inflation spiked, the economy contracted, the Federal Reserve was trapped, raise rates and deepen the recession, or cut rates and let inflation run. Sound familiar? JP Morgan's head of investment strategy called this week's data a tricky stagflationary mix. Morgan Stanley said the Fed is between a rock and a hard place. An Apollo Global analyst said, stagflation is the ultimate nightmare for a central banker. You have 2 fires burning in opposite directions and only one extinguisher. In 1973, the resolution took years. The recession lasted 16 months. Inflation persisted through the decade. Japan built 254 days of oil reserves in response, reserves it is now tapping on day 8 of this war. The 1973 shock restructured global energy policy for 50 years. Every analyst drawing the 1973 parallel is assuming the same recovery pattern. Oil stabilizes, demand recovers, workers are rehired, the economy rebuilds, the cycle completes. That assumption is wrong, and here is why. In 1973, when the oil shock forced companies to cut costs, they laid off workers. When the shock ended, they rehired. The jobs were paused, not eliminated. The skills were still needed. The function still existed. The workers came back. In 2026, something different is happening, and the data is now undeniable. White-collar payrolls in the United States have contracted for 29 consecutive months. 29 months, according to a former chief economist at Glassdoor, that is without precedent. In 2025, 55,000 job cuts were explicitly attributed to artificial intelligence, 12 times the number 2 years earlier. 30,000 tech workers were laid off in just the first month of 2026. And those are the companies that said the word AI out loud. Oxford Economics estimates that many more are using AI as a pretext. They said, and I quote, "We suspect some firms are trying to dress up layoffs as a good news story." Let me give you 3 examples that tell you everything. Jack Dorsey's company cut 40% of its entire workforce, from 10,000 employees to 6,000. Dorsey wrote in a shareholder letter, "Intelligence tools have changed what it means to build and run a company. A significantly smaller team, using the tools we are building, can do more and do it better." Salesforce eliminated 5,000 customer support positions. CEO Mark Benioff said AI agents now handle 50% of customer interactions. Those workers were not furloughed, they were replaced by software. Oracle is laying off thousands. And the reason is extraordinary. They are not cutting because demand fell. They are redirecting payroll spending toward AI data center construction. They are firing humans to build the infrastructure that replaces humans. That is not a business cycle. That is a structural phase transition. Now here is the Planck scale insight. The war is not causing these layoffs. The AI transition was already happening, but the war is accelerating it. Because the oil shock gives every CEO in the world a convenient crisis to hide structural replacement behind. When you announce layoffs during a war and an oil shock, nobody asks if the jobs are coming back. They assume it is cyclical, they assume recovery will bring rehiring. But for the companies deploying AI, this is not cyclical. This is permanent. The workers being let go in 2026 are not being furloughed. They are being replaced by systems that will still be running when the war ends, when oil stabilizes, when the economy recovers. That is the variable that did not exist in 1973, and it changes the entire recovery calculus. Let me walk you through what this means in practice, because this is the simulation that nobody is running. The 1973 pattern: oil shock, recession, recovery, rehiring, 12 to 24 months of pain. Then the jobs come back because the functions still need humans. The 2026 pattern: oil shock plus AI displacement, stagflation, recovery, but the jobs do not come back because the functions no longer need as many humans. Block is not going to rehire 4,000 workers when its AI tools can handle the work. Salesforce is not going to re-employ 5,000 support agents when its AI handles half the volume. Oracle is not going to stop building data centers and restart payroll. Mercer's Global Talent Trends survey found that employee fears of losing their job to AI jumped from 28% in 2024 to 40% in 2026. Deutsche Bank said in January that this anxiety would go, and I quote, "from a low hum to a loud roar this year." It is March, the roar has arrived, and it arrived inside an oil shock, inside a war, inside a stagflationary trap. 3 crises layered on top of each other, each one amplifying the others. That is genuinely uncharted territory. Now let me show you where this appears in the markets, because there is one signal that confirms everything I have just described. Silver. Gold is at $5,185, holding above $5,000 through the entire war. Doing exactly what gold does in a crisis. Silver is at $85. It was $94 before the war. It is falling during a crisis where it should be rising. Why? Because silver is 55 to 60% industrial. Solar panels, electronics, medical devices, electric vehicles, AI data center components. When the market prices stagflation, slowing growth plus rising inflation, it sells the industrial component of silver. The gold to silver ratio has compressed to 61. That ratio is the market's real-time stagflation indicator. It is saying the economy is weakening and it is not coming back the way it did before. And here is the connection to AI. The semiconductor stocks that powered the last 2 years are being liquidated. South Korea crashed because the market is repricing the assumption that cheap energy and low rates would fuel the AI build-out indefinitely. But the irony, the deep structural irony, is that the AI build-out is what is destroying the jobs. The very technology the market was betting on is the technology that is hollowing out employment. The market funded AI's rise. Now AI is destroying the labor market that the market depends on for consumer spending. Silver sees it first, because silver sits at the intersection of industrial demand, safe haven demand, and the dollar. It is telling you the growth story and the employment story are both breaking simultaneously in a way that has never happened before. So let me describe the world that exists on the other side of this war, because that is the world you need to prepare for. The war will end. Every war ends. Oil will stabilize, whether at 80 or 100 depends on how long Hormuz stays closed. The Fed will eventually find its footing, though it may take a painful period of inaction first. But the AI transition will not reverse, it will accelerate. Because every company that used this crisis to restructure around AI will report higher margins on the other side. And every competitor will be forced to follow or die. The war is not creating the AI transition, but it is compressing a decade of workforce transformation into months. The jobs that were eliminated during this war will not come back after the ceasefire. Not because the economy is weak, because the economy no longer needs them. That is the structural shift that the 1973 comparison misses entirely. Goldman Sachs estimates that 25% of all global work hours could be automated by AI. Wall Street banks are planning to cut 200,000 jobs over the next 3 to 5 years. 40% of employers expect to reduce their workforce where AI automates tasks in 2026. And 92 million jobs globally could be displaced by 2030. Those numbers existed before the war. The war just removed the friction that was slowing them down, so what do? Let me be direct. If you are a knowledge worker in administration, customer service, data entry, basic programming content, production, back office, finance world, your job is not at risk from the war. Your job is at risk from what the war is accelerating. The single most important investment you can make right now is not in any asset class. It is in learning to work with AI rather than being replaced by it. That is not inspirational advice, that is a structural survival imperative. If you are an investor, the market is pricing a cyclical shock. The Planck scale analysis says this is structural. If you believe the 1973 pattern, buy the dip in growth stocks, they will recover. If you believe the 2026 pattern, the recovery in growth stocks will be slower and shallower because the consumer spending that drives earnings is being permanently reduced by AI displacement. Energy, defense, gold, and companies with pricing power are the structural winners. If you are a founder or a CEO, this is your window. The companies that restructure around AI during this crisis will emerge with margins their competitors cannot match. That is not a recommendation, that is a description of what is already happening. Block, Salesforce, Oracle, they are not cutting because they are weak. They are cutting because they see what is coming. If you are a policymaker, you are running out of time to build transition infrastructure. Universal basic income, reskilling programs, new social contracts, and these are not theoretical debates anymore. They are operational necessities, and the window to implement them is closing faster than anyone modeled. 5 sensors, updated. 1. Brent crude, 92 and climbing. If it breaks 100, stagflation is confirmed in the models. Watch it daily. 2. The gold to silver ratio, 61. Rising means deeper stagflation. Falling means the industrial economy survives. This is the smartest indicator in the room. 3. AI layoff announcements. Track Challenger, Gray, and Christmas monthly data. If artificial intelligence attributed layoffs accelerate during the war, the structural thesis is confirmed. The war is providing cover for permanent displacement for the Federal Reserve meeting on March 18. If they hold rates, which they almost certainly will, listen to the language. If they acknowledge the stagflationary bind, the market will reprice everything. 5. White-collar payrolls. 29 consecutive months of contraction. If that streak extends through March and April, the structural displacement is accelerating independent of the war. That is the signal that tells you this time is genuinely different. In 1973, the oil shock hit and the jobs disappeared. When the oil stabilized, the jobs came back. The cycle completed, the pattern held. In 2026, the oil shock hit and the jobs are disappearing. But this time, artificial intelligence is learning to do those jobs while the humans are being let go. And when the oil stabilizes and the war ends and the ceasefire is signed, the AI will still be running. The systems will still be operating, the efficiency gains will still be locked in, and the jobs will not come back. Not because the economy failed, because the economy evolved, and it evolved during a war under cover of an oil shock, inside a stagflationary trap where nobody was watching. That is the Planck scale. The discrete structural shift that most people cannot see. That changes everything once you do. I will be here throughout this week. If this changed how you see what is happening, then do send it to one person. One person with a job, a mortgage, or a portfolio who still thinks this is just a war story. Show them it is an everything story. Subscribe, bell, I'm Shiv, and this is the Planck scale.